Can I be honest with you? Growing up, I used to hate to read. Yeah, reading comprehension, English class, literature, I absolutely hated to read. And of lately, I've had a lot of parents come to me and say, Kantis, how can I help my young men read more? And you see, for me, growing up, I used to hear phrases like readers are leaders and leaders are readers. I've heard things like rich people read books, poor people watch TV. But what I've also learned is that my teachers, my professors, they've read books. And if I could understand what was in the book, then I could be as smart as my teacher. Hey, I'm Kantis Simmons. Welcome to the Kantis Simmons Show. And I'm irrationally passionate about helping students succeed in school and succeed in life, but also help those that serve them. And in today's video, just like any other video on my page, hey, I deliver and give great content because I want to help you get to the next level, whether that's academically in school, whether that's in college, or whether that's just having a better life. So today we're talking about reading. A few shows back, my maid, the lady that comes and cleans my house and my clothes, we were having a conversation. And if you go back to the video, you will see that conversation. It was a very sporadic conversation, but we talked about her son. And she has a daughter and a son. And she would talk about how her daughter loved reading books. Her daughter loved reading chapter books, but her son, he was reading comic books. He was reading like these books that she didn't really see as books. And so we had a conversation about how she can get her young man to read more, but also how she can develop trust around books with her young man. So definitely go check out that video. But in this video, as a follow-up to that video, I have more parents to say, hey, can you help me more with helping my young man read more? So I want to give you four things that you can implement within your home, implement within your household to help your young men read more and read better. All right. Here's thing number one. Definitely allow your young man, allow your son to read books around his interest. Yes, one of the things that I've noticed and I know for myself, like young men, like we just are wired differently than girls, right? And so a lot of times books and things that young men pick up, it may not be interesting to you, mother. It may not be interesting to you, father. But if we're going to get our young man to read what we call them chapter books, I have a lot of chapter books on my bookshelf. But the idea is let's start where they are in getting them to read the things that they're interested in. Now, you see it, right? You see the magazines they pick up. You see the books they pick up. You look at, hopefully you see the websites that they're going to. And what you want to do is take the time to allow them to go down those roads of interest and then allow them to read. Let's say, for example, like, with my assistant, like her son, he loved the graphic novels. He loved the comic books. And so what I recommended for her to do is allow him to read those graphic comic books, those graphic novels, those comic books. And as a parent, you now get involved by having conversations around what he just read from that graphic novel, right? And so as you're having conversations with him about the things that he's interested in, guess what? He now feels like, oh, wow, if she is interested in what I'm reading, then now I can get interested in the things that she's reading. But the beautiful thing about this is that you're developing trust with your young man. So allow them to read those ESPN magazines. Allow them to pick up those books that draw their interest. Yeah, maybe you don't understand video games. Maybe you don't understand certain sports. Maybe you don't understand certain things going on in the culture, but allow them to read it. But here's what you do as a parent, as a caring adult, get involved by now having conversations with them around what they read. All right. So the first thing is to get them to read books around their interest. Another way that we can get young men to read more, but also comprehend more and becoming a better reader as well as comprehender, is allow them to, or challenge them or train them to read the book and listen to the audio at the exact same time. You say, what? Yeah. Get them to read the book and listen to the audio book at the exact same time. Now, here's what's going to happen. Now, first of all, this is an amazing way to read faster, but it's also an amazing way to really strengthen the senses to be able to get the most out of the book. Okay. So let's say, for example, here's a book of mine, Play Your A Game, right? Play Your A Game. It's a book, right? I have another book here on how to grow your small business. Now, a lot of books, some of them have audio books now. And so what you can do now is take the book, take the physical book, download the audio book, and then now listen to the audio book while they are reading through the pages of the book. Now, one of the things you'll notice about your young man, he may read slow because he is trying to call out each word. Now, if you've ever studied speed reading or know good readers, they recommend that you don't call out the words, right? Allow the eyes to flow down blocks of paragraphs. And what you can do with the audio book, you can start the audio book at, speed 1, and then you can speed it up to 1.5. You can speed it up to 2. Now, what this is going to do, think about all of the senses that are now involved. They're listening, they're seeing, and they're feeling as they are going through the book. I believe this is a great way to, first of all, allow your young man to hear the words, hear the correct pronunciation of the words as they're reading the book. And then number 2, it's allowing them, because a lot of times you can hear and see things a lot faster than just trying to read it word for word. By having the audio and having the visual book, now it forces them to hear the words, see the words, and get through the book a lot faster. But also, again, it helps them with their comprehension. All right. So that's number 2. Read audio books as well as read physical books. All right. So it's almost like listen to audio books at the same time you're reading the physical book, if that is available. All right. Number 3. This is one that I love. Allow your young man, when you go out to dinner, when you go to an amusement park, when you go out, allow your young man to be the one that reads the menus. Yeah, allow him to read the menus and allow him to order for everyone at the table. Now, here's what's going to happen. Number 1, he's going to learn new words, right? Based on which cuisine you go to, you're going to learn new words, as well as being able to teach him manners, being able to allow him to communicate to the waiter or the waitress. And it's going to allow him to now be able to fellowship with those at the table to get a clear understanding of what they want. And guess what? When they read a word on the menu that they don't know, maybe they don't know the ingredient or what type of food that is, by them reading it, it's going to improve their vocabulary, and it's going to begin to trigger their curiosity of what that is. And then guess what? When the food shows up, they can now see on the plate what was there in the menu. Okay, so allow them to read the menus. Like even when you go out to maybe amusement park, allow them to read the menu and tell the family, tell you what's on the menu, or what are the options at the amusement park, how much it costs, and what to do next. Get them in the habit of being a leader at the table, but being a leader around the things of the family. All right. So number 3, read menus. And lastly, number 4, you may think this is corny, but I absolutely love it. And I recommend it to every parent for your young man. Turn on closed captions and allow them to read while watching movies, TV shows, cartoons, or anything that is visual for them. Yeah, turn the closed captions on. Now, here's what happens. When a person now watches closed captions, it's going to allow them and force them to be better locked in with what's going on, right? Again, their senses are involved. Yeah, they're watching the TV show. Yeah, they're watching the movie, but they can also see the words and they can hear the words that are coming out of the actor's mouth. Maybe there's a favorite TV show or something that's going on. Allow them to see the words in written form. And as they see it and as they hear it, guess what? It's going to improve their ability to read and pronunciate, but it's also going to give them this sense of, oh, wow, they said this word and now I hear it and I understand. Or as they're watching the show and listening to the show and reading the words, now comprehension is happening. Because guess what? When you have multiple characters in the show, you can hear the words pronounced based on a person's accent. But guess what? As they're reading and going through the dialogue, they are actually spending time reading. Like it's like they're reading the movie. Now, guess what? If a young man is now reading a book that he's interested in, if he's practicing audiobooks, if he's reading the menus and he's reading closed captions, when it's time for him to do that schoolwork, or when it's time for him to go get chapter books, or when it's time for him to work on any other project, and you as a parent have shown interest in what he's doing around his reading, guess what? When it's time to do those other things and you are heavily on his back about getting those things done, you've now developed a rapport where he can now trust you. He can now trust what he's reading, and now he's more secure at reading. I'm pretty sure you've experienced a young man, or I know young men personally, who, when they've had to read out loud in the classroom at school, they get embarrassed, they shy away, and then they act out. Why? Because they are fearing the opportunity to have to read in front of the class. So now they shy up, they get hard, they act out just so they can get kicked out the room and never face their fear of reading. So whomever you are, a parent, a caring adult, a teacher, an educator, hey, there are 4 things that you can do to help your son, help your young man read better. Yes, read books that they're interested in. Read audiobooks or listen to audiobooks while they're reading the physical book. Hey, read the menus. And lastly, read with closed captions on the TV shows or their movies. I'm Kantis Simmons. I'm the coolest guy with 7.25 fingers. And guess what? Go encourage another young man to read today. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.